Whoa, 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 whoa. His name is Jeremy, working in IT, never questions why. He has always been an extra careful guy, sensitive and shy. Risk prevention is his assessment of a life of no surprise. As she walked into his life, she's spontaneous indeed, uncertainty's her creed, never questions why. All's black and white, just a curious delight. She threw affection in his direction, a collection of her smile, and to his surprise, she's like tomorrow, oh so distant. She just wants to play like tomorrow. She is always one day away. All the time she slips away, it's close and yet so far. It's time to follow her tomorrow. Whoa, oh, oh, oh. He fell in love too fast. We all thought it wouldn't last, but good old Jeremy likes his rigorous routine, 'cause he only thinks today, but tomorrow is her way. So find a new direction and you'll be okay. She's like tomorrow, oh so distant. She just wants to play like tomorrow. She is always one day away. All the time she slips away, it's close and yet so far. It's time to follow her tomorrow. Whoa, oh, 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 she's like tomorrow, oh so distant. She just wants to play like tomorrow. She is always one day away. One day away. One day away. All the time she slips away, it's close and yet so far. It's time to follow her tomorrow. It's time to follow her tomorrow. It's time to follow her tomorrow.
Thank you, Todd and the band. We get to start out with the funnest songs on Sunday, don't we? It's an awesome way to start the day. Well, I want to welcome you and say good afternoon. My name's Tracy Henkel. I'm the Discipleship Director here at Clinton Township campus, and it's just my pleasure to get to say welcome this week. I also love to just say, if you are brand new to Kensington, we know that it can feel a little bit big and you don't know where to go first when you get here. So we have the perfect spot created for you. It's called Starting Point, and it's right outside those doors. I also want you to know that, and hopefully you do know, that we are in week 3 of our Love, Sex, and Dating series, the new rules for love, sex, and dating. This week we're talking about commitment. And in the context of our culture, sometimes that can be really hard. We know what the word commitment means, but we also don't realize sometimes we don't really do a good job of preparing to make that commitment. That's what we're going to hear about today. But there's a fun way to talk about commitment. How many of you have been a part of our Everyone campaign? Right? So the Everyone campaign is what we have done to be able to build that building that you're seeing going up on the corner over there, just south of Hall Road. How many of you would like to see a video that shows a little progress on that? All right, check it out.
Previously on Frankie the Intern.
Oh no, I don't want to be in there. No way, no way. I'm not even gonna tell you what was in there. Oh, let's get out of here. Hey everybody, it's Frankie the Intern here. We're here to check out the progress of the Clinton Township building, man. They are so far along, it's gonna be awesome. Let's see what's going on. Look at this purple color, man. Does this work with the Kensington branding? It's pretty far from orange, man. Holy moly, look at this place. All this brick, this stuff is so nice, man. This is the brick that's gonna be on the outside of the building when it's finished. Oh, it's lovely. Hey man, how you doing? Can I give you a hand? Hey, what season is it? Bulking season. Alrighty. The fire suppression crew.
Yeah, so we're hanging the sprinklers that are about to be in the ceilings and stuff like that. I don't see one. Mitch, you got a head. Oh, here's one.
Whoa. We're gonna check out this multi-purpose room up in here. This is where Breakaway and Edge are gonna be. We have a whole lot of fun in this parking lot. Next time we come back, it's gonna be finished. How you guys doing? Can I try driving that? I think that was it. No. Over here, this is the Gratiot entrance, the south side of the building. It's gonna be pretty cool. Everyone who lives in this area, they're gonna really appreciate having the multiple entrances coming in. We've got deer tracks over here. Man, the field and stream team are gonna dig this. We're back at the auditorium. I think right here, this block area is probably gonna be where the production is gonna be happening. Man, look at this roof. Easter services, Christmas services, weekends. Think about all the events that are gonna be happening. It's all because you guys Giving to the Everyone campaign. Thank you so much. Can't thank you guys enough. Can't figure out how to turn this thing off. That's all right, this is a good spot. Well, we've seen some amazing things here at Clinton Township building today. Can't wait to see what's in store for this place. All right, until next time, it's Frank the Intern. Much love. It's the Fast and the Furious. Where's Vin Diesel? I found his car.
He's a hoot. Well, you know, we opened with the song Tomorrow, and for us, tomorrow is less than a year away that we are going to be sitting in the walls of that building. Isn't that exciting? So we want to say thank you, and that's why we're continually bringing you updates, because we know when you're a part of something like the Everyone campaign, where you're committed to giving and making that financial sacrifice for it, you want to know what's going on. And so I love the fact that we're able to offer these videos, and you can see. If you drive by on Hall Road, you can see a lot of this yourself. And I mean, just to have the driveways in, like, it is getting real, and we're excited about it. So I want to tell you today about some upcoming events for this month, November. I can't believe we're in November already. It's always a really busy, fun time with so many great opportunities to be involved. The first one is Thanksgiving baskets. Have any of you been a part of our Thanksgiving baskets before? It is such a fun event. What we do is we deliver baskets complete with a real turkey, no canned ham. There's an example out in the lobby, and it still doesn't do it justice. I mean, there's fresh fruit, and there's boxed goods, and there's bread, and there's eggs. It's everything the family will need to have a real Thanksgiving dinner. And many a times, these families would not get to enjoy that if we didn't give those baskets, donate and pay for those, and deliver them. The way that we select the families is through our school partners. And I know you've been hearing us talk about school partners, right? We did, notebooks and donations and things like that at the beginning of the year. That is the way that Kensington wants to reach into our communities. We want to partner with schools, identify families, go in and come alongside them. So that's what Thanksgiving Baskets is about. It's on November 18th. That's the Saturday before Thanksgiving, and here's how you can get involved. You can go online to kensingtonchurch.org/Thanksgiving, and you can donate to a basket. They're $50 a piece. You could also do that outside in the lobby if you're not really comfortable with that. Also, maybe you want to volunteer to be a part of setting it up. We have truckloads of food come in on Friday night, and we set it all up. But then on Saturday, that's your opportunity to deliver a basket. And I can tell you there is nothing like knocking on the door and seeing the faces of people who are receiving these baskets. They are so appreciative, but really, you're the one who's going to be blessed by being a part of it. So 3 ways to be involved: donate, serve, and deliver. And it's all online at kensingtonchurch.org/Thanksgiving. Okay, next thing to do with Thanksgiving is right here, the Wednesday night, November 22nd, before Thanksgiving. We call it our Thanksgiving Eve service, and I want you to know it is such a tradition that it is jam-packed here on that day. Not to the point that you can't get a seat, but it is full, and it's exciting because we are all coming together and just spending some time to say, what are we thankful for as a church community, for our family and our friends? There's great message. Chris will be there teaching. There's music to play. It's just a fantastic night. So it's 7 o'clock here on November 22nd. Back up to the previous Sunday, November 19th, we're doing baptisms at all services. This is one of my favorite events. I think it's one of the most misunderstood things. If you went online and looked at kensingtonchurch.org/baptisms, you would see a little video. It's a teaching by all of our teaching pastors on baptism. And I have to say that when my daughter wanted to be baptized, my heart was changed after I watched that video. Because baptism is saying, it's a public statement of saying, I am a follower of Jesus Christ. And I felt like, well, I don't really need to be baptized because I'm on staff at Kensington. They know what I believe. I'm making a public statement. And yet I watched that video teaching, and it quotes scripture that says, Jesus said this, the last thing that he said before he ascended to heaven was, go and be baptized. And it just struck me so powerfully. It's not a suggestion. It's actually a command. He says to do it. And yet we sometimes are like, I don't know, should I or shouldn't I? And yet if you are a follower of Jesus Christ, this is your opportunity to proclaim to the world that you are a believer. And we do that at all services. So if you have any questions at all, kensingtonchurch.org/baptisms. And then we are moving on to our new series. And the series is called Questions Jesus Asked. Check this out. Rhetorical question that was just so filled with wisdom and power that it really made you stop and pause and reflect on it. And then the answer that you came to was just life-changing. That's what Jesus did. While he was here on earth, it says on the slide you just saw, he asked over 130 questions, and he used those as teaching moments. And they had the power to change our lives when we listen to the answers. So over a 3-week period, we are going to be looking at 3 of those questions starting next Sunday. We're excited for you guys to be a part of that. For now, I would like you to stand up and say hello to one another, maybe move in, make some room for those that are walking in late. Dave and Ann Wilson. It's a video message today that we thought was so powerful that all of the campuses are seeing a video message with Dave and Ann Wilson. And this message today is really in their wheelhouse. I mean, this is their passion is dating and marriages and parenting. So we felt that it'd be great to hear from them. So Chris is in Orlando. He is helping out down there, and he'll be back next week for our series. But you are going to hear a powerful message from Dave and Ann. And so I'd love to invite you to pray with me before you hear this message, just to invite the Lord in, to invite the Holy Spirit in, to just move through their message today. So bow your heads and pray with me. Father God, Lord, thank you for this opportunity to just say, God, come into our hearts and help us to understand what we're going to hear today from Dave and Ann, Lord. This can be powerful, this contemplation of commitment and what does it mean in our lives. And we know, Lord, that you want us to invite you into our lives and help us to do this, God. I pray for open hearts. I pray, Lord, that your Spirit would just fill this place, that you speak through Dave and Ann to us. I pray these things in the powerful name of Jesus. Amen.
All right, we are so excited to be here with you. We are Dave and Ann Wilson, been married 37 years, and there's nothing, 37 years. You can give that a hand. And every one of them's been perfect.
Everyone.
No.
When Nancy said legendary, that just means we're old. That's all that means.
That's what it means. But we love talking on this topic, marriage, love, sex, and dating, relationships. In fact, and I love doing it with my wife. We were at a dinner, and there's a bunch of people there from Kensington, and this lady comes up to me, and she goes, hey, I just got to tell you, my favorite weekends at Kensington are when you guys, when you talk about relationships. And she goes, I got to be real honest. And she was going to hurt my feelings. She goes, you know, when it's a relationship series and I see you walk on stage, I think, oh, that's good, Dave's here. But when I see you walk on stage with Ann, She goes, I turn to my husband, I go, jackpot! So you are the jackpot.
That's nice.
That's what you are. You're the jackpot.
Really nice.
I mean, it is so much fun to do this so you get a female perspective and a
Yeah.
male perspective, the wrong perspective and the right
I was just going to say the
perspective.
right perspective and the wrong perspective.
Whatever. So, and we're especially excited because we are on video at all Kensington campus today. So this is us talking about love, sex, and dating everywhere. And here's where we are. This is our last week, 3 weeks in a row. We've been basically saying, you know, if you're going after love, sex, and dating, it often goes this way. Singles try to find the perfect person, right? They're trying to find the perfect person to marry. And I only know of one couple that ever worked out for. It worked out for Ann. She found the perfect, whatever. Nobody even laughed. So,
Yeah, they didn't.
It's not true. But I mean,
We know.
it is the search. It's like you think you can find Mr. Right or Miss Right, and once you find them, oh my gosh, you'll fall head over heels in love. Am I right? And then you fix all your hopes and dreams on that one person, and it's just going to be epic. And that's sort of the old rules. This is the new rules. That's sort of the old rules, although it's not old rules. It's the current rules. It's the way people sort of do relationships. In fact, you guys know this. There are songs written that way that sort of say, you know, once you fall in love, it will be just like, you know, the greatest thing in the world there we go. Here's a song from 1971. All the best music was written in the 70s. Here we go. And it was redone by Mariah Carey, but it went this song. And this is a song about somebody finding that person, and when you find them, you think this. I can't live. Remember this?
You have to sing with us.
If living is without you, I can't give. I want to hear every campus singing right now. I can't give anymore. And then they go desperate. I can't live. If living is without you, I can't give. I can't give anymore. Right? That's. You're pretty good.
No, it was cracking.
That's like Sonny and Cher right there. I got you, but anyway, I mean, that song is so desperate. It's like, you can't live without her. No, I can't live without him. It's just, and that's what people think. They find that perfect person, they get married, and then what happens? I don't know how long it is, but it isn't very long before they're singing something like this. You never close your eyes anymore when I kiss. Remember this one? Come on, sing it with us. I want to hear all the campus. And there's no tenderness like before in your fingertips. Remember Top Gun? You're trying hard not to show it, baby. But baby, I know it. Here we go. You lost that love and feeling. Oh, that love and feeling. You lost that love and feeling. Now it's gone, gone, gone. Here we go. Ooh.
You're good.
Let's go. Baby, I get down
On.
Wow,
You were
you're
really
impressive.
good.
You're impressive.
Woo.
You know, we're done. I would love to be able to go back and watch the video and see which campus sang that the best. I'm guessing. I'm not even going to go there.
You guys were really good, though.
But here's the sad thing about that song. We all know it. You know, we all know it's from the Righteous Brothers in the 60s, and it's in Top Gun, and we all know the song, and here's the scary thing about it. That song is really true for not just some couples, many couples. They walk down an aisle one day, and they're like, I just can't live without this person, and they really, truly feel that, and then it could be 6 years or 16 years or 65 minutes later after they're married, they're like, what did I just do? And it's interesting, you know, every Saturday, Friday, I did a wedding a couple Fridays ago. There's weddings all over the world. And there's couples standing in front of a minister or a justice of the peace, and they're making vows, they're making promises that often they don't realize at the moment they won't have the ability to fulfill. It's actually a scary thing. And, you know, this whole series is based on a series from North Point Church down in Atlanta by a guy named Andy Stanley. And I heard it 4 or 5 years ago, and I said, we got to do this series at Kensington. So everything you hear in the series really is a lot of their thoughts. And one of the things Andy said I thought was so profound.
It's really
He
good.
says, promises are not substitutes for preparation. In fact, you're going to write something down or tweet something out or take a picture of it on the screen. Promises are not substitutes for preparation. Because it's interesting. You and I can promise anything we want. We can make a vow, but if we haven't prepared to fulfill that, the promise is just a promise that we'll never fulfill.
Well, and I think when we stand at the altar as married couples and we're getting married and we're stating these vows and promises, our hearts are really sincere.
Totally.
We're not thinking, oh, I'm going to lie about this. You know, we're thinking, yes, I'm going to do this. Think about it this way. Let's say that you go to Kensington and you hear about Hope Water and how if you run the marathon, you're going to provide all this water in Africa for these Kenya, the Pokot tribe. And so you hear about it, you get really excited, and they say, will you do it? And you're like, yes. That is a worthy cause. I am going to do it. You stand up like, I am going to do this. I'm going to raise them. You might even raise the money and pledge. But when the training time comes and everybody has the training preparation on the refrigerator scheduled.
Which is, I think, 8 months or 9 months
crazy,
of training.
But instead you're like, you know what? My heart is sincere. I know that will be enough to get me through those miles. And so when everybody's out training and preparing, you're watching TV, you're eating your chips.
Got the 2-liter of Mountain Dew right there.
And so then when it comes to the day of the marathon, your heart's still sincere, like, I can do this. But the problem is you haven't prepared or trained to be able to fulfill your commitment.
I mean, it really is that way. It's like if you were being wheeled in for heart surgery, and right before you're about to go under anesthesia, you look at the heart doctor and say, so how many of these have you done? They're like, oh, I've never done any. Well, where'd you go to med school? I go to med school, but I stood in front of a guy and I made a vow that I was going to be really good at this. You're like, I'm not letting you touch my body. It's like I want somebody that's prepared and educated and spent their life learning how to do this. And yet, this is what we do. We go into marriage with very little, if any, training. We spend thousands of dollars on a wedding ceremony. And in fact, in 2017, the average wedding cost $35,329. That's average, so you know it's a lot more than that, some less. And the average couple will spend less than $300 preparing for marriage. And it's actually scary to think we're going to go in and make a vow or a promise that we think we can keep, but we've never prepared ourselves to keep it. And another quote from Andy Stanley that I think is just profound. He said this, when it comes to marriage, commitment is overrated and preparation is underrated. Think about that. It's so true about any area of your life. You would never do this. You would never try to do something as hard as a marathon or something that took incredible endurance and skill without training, but yet we walk into marriage thinking, I'll spend all this money on a wedding and not even spend a weekend or any time training to do it. And I'll say this at the very front. One of our mottos and one of our dreams for the last 27 years at Kensington, I'm not talking Dave and Ann, I'm talking about our whole leadership team at Kensington, is we never wanted to be a church that just does weddings. We wanted to be a church that builds marriages. That's one of the reasons we're speaking on this. We want to be a church that doesn't just do weddings, but builds marriages. And so we have a whole army of marriage ministry, marriage mentors who come alongside premarital couples and even couples that have been married, and they come alongside and they walk beside them to prepare them for marriage. It's an army that says we don't just want to be a place that does weddings, we want to build marriages, and we know that takes preparation. So I want to say this to all the campuses, because this is true at every campus and every lobby. Right now in your lobby after this service, when you go out, if you would like to sign up as a couple that's been married 5 years or longer and you'd like to be one of those mentors that walks beside couples, we need you. Mm-hmm. We need more marriage mentors to increase this army to help couples get prepared for marriage. And by the way, you don't just work with pre-married couples, you might work with married couples that come and say, I need help as well. You walk beside them with your years of experience and go. So today you can walk out to that lobby and say, man, I'd like to sign up and get trained to be a mentor. Or if you're a couple that says, I want somebody to mentor me, go to the same table and say, I need help.
And if you want to be one of those mentors, we will help to train you. And you don't have to be perfect. Some of you have learned a lot just through your struggle, and so we want to help train you for that.
And I'll make one last plug. Next weekend, Friday night, Saturday, and Sunday, Ann and I are speaking for the Family Life Weekend to Remember in Detroit. It's the first time that conference has come back to Detroit in 7 years, and we're going to spend the weekend, and there'll be 1,000, probably 500, 600 couples there, about 1,000, 1,200 people there. Probably 10 to 15% of them will be dating or engaged. And if you haven't signed up and you want to come, trust me, it'll cost you $400 to $500, and it's worth every single dime to spend the weekend at the RenCen with us and learn how to do marriage right, or if you're married. And by the way, I think there's only room for 50 more couples, so if you want to do it, sign up right now. As you're listening to this, go on to our Kensington app and sign up and meet us there next weekend. So here's all we want to do is walk you through some wisdom about how do we do this right? How do we
prepare?
Yeah, prepare to walk into a marriage, or even if you're married, it applies to married couples, but especially singles. How do we prepare? How do we get God's wisdom on this? And it's interesting, if you go to the Word of God and you look at just one book in the Bible, the book of Proverbs, I'm telling you, if you just studied that book and only did what's in that book, it would change your life. There's so much wisdom in the book of Proverbs, written by one of the richest and wisest men that ever lived, Solomon. And in Proverbs 14:8, he says this: "The wisdom of the prudent is to give thought to their ways, but the folly of fools is deception." Now, what's he saying? You just do a definition of these words. A prudent means a person who has wisdom in practical matters, especially the future. And he says, if he's prudent, he gives thought to their habits, their patterns, their approaches, their paths. And folly is a person that has no wisdom, has lack of understanding. He says they are deceived. So how does that apply to love, sex, and dating? It applies this way. If I walk into a dating relationship or to a marriage relationship and don't have the prudent wisdom to think about how am I approaching this? How am I living this? What are my ways? I am going to be deceived to think this is just going to work because we're so in love. Now, is love a big part of love, sex, and dating and of marriage? Of course it is. But is it enough to make a marriage last 37 years beyond? No. I mean, she said that without even blinking. It's like, it only goes so far. It's like, man, training and preparation before, during, and all the way through is key. And that's what Solomon said. I love what, I added this one in Galatians 6:7. I love this verse. It says, "Do not be deceived. God is not mocked." Think about this. "For whatever one sows, that he will also reap." It's something we taught our kids growing up. It's like, whatever you choose as a decision today, you will reap that. Good decisions reap good consequences. Bad decisions, bad consequences. It's the same as we prepare for love, sex, and dating, prepare for marriage. How about Proverbs 14:15 says this: "The simple believe anything, but the prudent give thoughts to their steps." And I think the key word there is steps. It isn't just give thought to what they hope or wish or promise, but how they walk. They know, I wrote this, the wise realize that a person's steps, habits, directions, and patterns determine where a person will end up, not his or her words. You know, words are overrated. It's actions that really matter.
Those of you who are married, did you give a whole lot of thought to like the things you were doing before you were married? In terms of like your dating relationships, your habits, your ways? I was just like, I didn't even give any thought that those would have so much of an effect of my future and in my marriage. And that's, I think, the thing we're saying to singles, like, consider your ways, like really think through this because it will follow you into your future.
Here's another piece of wisdom for you. A person's past, think about this, a person's past is a better indicator than a person's promise. Am I right? Every parent's going like this to their kids right now. It's like, you know, you can make all kinds of promises, but you can really judge and know a person's character by how they live in the past. Now, that doesn't mean they can't change and God won't change them, but here's what people do. They fall in love, they can't see many things, and they're so in love, they got their song, they've got their, you know, they just over the top. Everybody else can see patterns and things in their relationship, and they may even speak them into it, but they don't hear that because they're so in love with feelings and words that they don't see that a person's past is a better indicator of what the future is going to look like than what they say. And the whole time, your parents or somebody saying, hey, don't do this. I dated a girl for 4 years before Ann and I met, and I was convinced she was the one for me. I was in love with her. I was going to get married. I started my junior year.
I could have told you it wouldn't have worked.
Yeah, she knew. Actually, the funny thing is, not funny at all, everybody told me. Buddies in college told me she's not the one. My mom kept telling me, of course, my mom's clueless. What does she know, right? She didn't know anything. She was right. I remember a person walked up to me at a New Year's Eve party, just literally walked up to me and goes, dude, I don't know you very well, but that girl that you're dating is not who you think she is. You should not marry her. I'm like, get out of here. What do you got to do with me? And oh my gosh, I look back now and it's like, what were they seeing that I didn't see? The past and her decision making were indicators of the character. And I thank God. I do. In the moment, it was like one of the crushing moments of my life. I thank God that I walked in her dorm room and caught her with another guy. Because I don't know if I would have ever listened to wisdom if I wouldn't have seen it for myself, even though people were trying to tell me.
I think that's one of our hardest things for Dave and I is we talk to all these couples that are engaged and we can see these things. And I can even remember saying to this one woman, like we've said it so many times, like, let me tell you what your future is going to be like. If you marry this man, he is going to control every single little thing that you're doing. But they just feel like, no, but because we're so in love, I'm gonna change him. The more he's around me, the more he's going to realize how amazing I am, and he'll want to change. I'm going to help him do that. And those of you who are married, does that ever work? It does not work. It's like, no, it doesn't work. But
you can hear the whole room just sort of went, nope, doesn't work. Now, we're not saying that your husband, your wife doesn't change. They change, right? But nothing like you thought you were going to change them.
Right.
It just...
You thought it would just disappear. Oh, our love will conquer everything.
And by the way, this whole series has been built on one solid premise. I hope you can say it, because we've said it the last 2 weeks, and it's really a foundation. And I want to peel it back and then apply it to us, because it isn't all about what you're trying to find in a spouse, right? Or find a right person. Anybody remember? The word we use, and again, this is an Andy Stanley slogan, but it's this. Are you the person you are looking for is looking for? You remember that from the series? That's it. It's like we spend all this time focusing on them, and it's like, no, I should look in the mirror and say, am I the person that the person I'm looking for is looking for, and apply that to me? And if you want to apply that to marriage, I wrote it down this way. Are you the spouse that you wouldn't want to live without? Are you the spouse that you wouldn't want to live without? They all rhyme, okay? You get that? So you remember them?
Yeah,
but it's like, it isn't about her, it's about me. And so here's what we want to do. We were thinking, okay, what would we say to a couple that isn't married yet but is thinking about it? Now, this applies to married couples as well. But it's like, what things do they need to know? What things should they focus on? Now, some of you are sitting there going, there's like 80, right? There's 50. We came up with 4. Just 4 things, and there's a lot more than that. We're going to package a couple of them in these 4, but when you get married, when you're at a wedding, you never see this, but there's the bride and the groom, they're standing up there in the front, and you don't see what they're carrying, but they're carrying luggage. Every bride and every groom comes into marriage with bags. Am I right? They bring stuff. It's invisible. You don't even know it's there, but am I right, married couples? You find out pretty soon, oh my gosh, they got stuff. I mean, Ann brought that into our marriage.
And Dave brought some things too. But you just think, oh, it's not going to be that bad. I have a few things, but it's not going to affect us that much. And then Dave came in and we're like, oh my gosh.
She made me do this. I do not have 3 bags, all right? And this is a really good bag, by the way, all right? This is a Super Bowl victory bag some year. Anyway, right?
Yeah. And so we stand at the altar.
Here it is. Let's do it.
Yeah.
So this is what you don't see.
Yeah.
You know, the beautiful couple, they're standing there, and they don't think they have any of this.
Yeah, no, it's hidden.
And if they saw any of this before, they just pretended it wasn't there, and it's no big deal.
Oh, I'm just going to love you unconditionally.
Yeah.
And then
you get married, and it could be on your honeymoon, or if
Yeah.
it isn't on your honeymoon, it's not very long after you're like, what in the world is that?
Dave and I were on our honeymoon.
No, don't tell them that.
And
Don't even, seriously.
it's not even in our notes. We go on our honeymoon, we get lost in Boston. Like, we're so lost. He gets so angry. It's almost like we unzip the bag, and I'm seeing like, I've never seen you this angry. Like, what's wrong? We're just lost. We'll find our way back. Remember that?
No, I don't remember that. She's lying. It didn't even happen. I was amazing
It's
on
like,
our honeymoon.
oh my gosh, look what's in there.
Yeah, there was some crap in there. Trust me. But here's the thing. And again, we're just going to give you 4 bags, all right? 4 issues that we brought into our marriage, most people do, and a lot of times you don't even think about these. And here's why we're talking about this. If you're not married yet, I would say this. If you unpack these bags now, before the honeymoon, it will go a lot better after.
Yes. This is your preparation and training.
Yeah, and you're still going to be unpacking bags your whole life. Am I right, married couples? Yeah, and sometimes it's sort of fun. Especially when you get to unpack their bags, because you can focus on that. But we didn't do this, and so many don't even start to think about these things
Did
before
you
the
ever
wedding.
even think about that?
No, I didn't even think. Here's the first one. We got a visual in each one of these bags. The first one is this. You know what this is? It's a credit card. I would call this the money bag or the money issue. Better be writing this down. And again, I have a visual for each one. You just pull it out. It's like if you are in huge debt.
Or you're dating someone in huge debt.
Yeah, we're not saying run.
Right.
Are we? No, we're not. We're not saying run. But we are saying, oh my gosh. Is this a big one, married couples? Is it? Yeah, there's a lot of fights in marriage about money. You walking in with debt. I would even say to some singles right now, I'd say move back in with your parents for a while and get that debt knocked down.
Yeah.
I'm not kidding. You think I'm crazy. It's that important. It is huge in a marriage relationship, right?
And I think if you're dating, this needs to be a bag that's unzipped and exposed to talk about even your spending habits. Dave and I never talked about this. We didn't even have any idea what the other person was like. And then we got married.
Yeah, and you're looking at a spender and a saver. Yeah. She's like, let's go buy that. And I'm like, let's go to Salvation Army and get some furniture. I'm not kidding, because that's where my family got it growing up.
So
there we
there's
were.
one Christmas, it's when our kids were all little, I would take one day, go to Toys R Us, and do all the Christmas shopping for the boys. I've got this cart jammed full. I've been in there hours. I pull up to the counter, the cashier, ring through, swipe my card. We're sorry, ma'am, that card is not going through. So there, at Christmas time, there's like 10 people behind me. And I break out in this instant sweat, like, oh, you're just laughing awkwardly. Here, I'll just do another card. Swipe. I'm sorry, ma'am. That one's not going through either. Dave's paying the bills at that time. I come home so mad. I didn't know that he's a withdrawer. And so if there's not enough money in it, he just doesn't talk about it.
That's a really good way. It's a great way to handle conflict. Just pretend it isn't there. Especially money. It just always works itself out, right? Oh, my gosh. There were fights, many fights, and that was the Christmas. That was a long time ago. Our boys were little. Our oldest is 31 now, but that was the year we said we need a plan, a money plan, and thank God that it happened, because I was so stressed I could not sleep at night. And I know some of you have been there. Some of you are there right now. You lay in bed and sweat because you can't pay the bills and your debt's racked up and you have no plan. And there was no Dave Ramsey Financial Peace University at the time, but we started to learn, and we then took Dave Ramsey. And I'm telling you right now, if you are about to get married or you're dating or you're married and this is a problem, I'm not even going to tell you to cut it up. I'm going to say sign up right now for the Dave Ramsey Financial Peace. It's kensingtonfpu.org. That's where you can go, kensingtonfpu.org. I'm telling you, join the thousands of families at Kensington that have taken that course, and it's literally set you free. Because he gives you a plan to save, to give, and to live. You want to live with freedom in your finances? Yes. It's one of the biggest hindrances to a great marriage and intimacy. You want to live. And so I thought, before we go to the next bag, I thought, let's take the offering. Seriously. And I don't mean that in a fun way. I mean, man, some people here right now, they're like, I'm excited to give. Why? I'm on a plan. I know how much I'm putting away. I know how much I'm living on. And I'm so excited that I can give more than I ever thought I could give. How can people celebrate that? They are on a plan, and it's one of the greatest parts of the week is when we get to give. Now, others of you are like, man, this is the hardest part because it's so scary. Here's what I'd say. Get on a plan. I'm not kidding. It will not only allow you to save more, live more, and give more, it will save maybe your relationship. I'm not kidding. So ushers, go ahead, come forward. This is happening at all our campuses. All the ushers are coming forward, all places. And I will say this before we go on. Thank you. And I love being able to do this at all of our campuses because I only get to do this at one campus on the weekends. Thank you, all you people that give. And so many of you give online. You don't even put anything in the offering right now. And I know you feel bad because everybody's looking at you like, look at that loser, didn't put anything in. They've already chosen to give. It's coming out of their checking account just like their mortgage. So thank you for that. And if you are a visitor today, you are our guest. That means you don't have to give. Just enjoy the day. And if you want to take the next step at Kensington, your next step is go to Starting Point after the service in the lobby. Look for the people with the orange. I don't know why it's orange. That's Denver Broncos colors. But orange Starting Point T-shirts and say, I'd like to start, take the next step here. That's where you go. So that's the first bag.
Yeah, the first one, think about this. How are you doing with your finances? Do you have a plan, whether you're married or you're single? Okay, what's the next one?
The next one, I don't know why I put it in the Detroit Lions bag, but it's called unresolved issues. And I know you think that's where it should be. It should be in the Lions bag. No, it shouldn't. Unresolved issues.
This one, to me,
is an extension cord.
This is the biggest one and the most important one to me, in my opinion.
Explain what it is.
Unresolved issues are issues that you could have. Here's a big one, especially you married couples. If you've had issues with your family, with your parents, with your family upbringing, that doesn't just disappear after you get married. Suddenly, the focus goes on your husband because you were thinking, oh, I have got this gigantic hole in my life that was caused by my parents or something that happened, a hurt or a wound. But here's what we think. That wound is going to be suddenly filled up by this person that loves me, and they will fill that hole in my soul. Does that person fill your hole in your soul? No. I have to be
that
careful
almost
of
came
that.
out wrong.
Yeah, that did. Sorry, guys.
This is great. All the campuses are
Yeah,
laughing at
that's
us right now. Anyway, the thought with the extension cord is this. That unresolved issue, whether it be bitterness or resentment or unforgiveness.
Not just with family, but anywhere.
Could be anywhere. It
Yeah.
could be family. It could be anything back in your past. Here's why I have an extension cord is you don't realize it, but you're plugged into that.
Yeah. And if you've been,
it's like we're bound to that.
and those of you who have gone through a divorce, we carry so much shame and guilt and unresolved issues, even from that. Like you're plugged into that, and that needs to be dealt with for all of us, whether we're married or single.
And when we got married, I had no idea. Honestly, we did no premarital counseling. We did no premarital mentoring. The only thing we did was went to the Family Life Weekend to Remember, the same one we're doing in 2 weeks,
Which
or
was
next
awesome.
weekend. And it was a great weekend, but we sat there as a premarried couple, honestly, the whole weekend and thought, this doesn't apply to us. All these couples that are taking notes, they need it because they're losers, but that's what we thought. We were in a Chicago ballroom. There were like 1,000 people there, and the whole weekend we thought, we love each other. We love Jesus. What else do you need?
Yeah.
We will not struggle like all these couples that must not have what we got. And then we got married, and it wasn't very long before I realized, oh my gosh, I've got dad issues. I have a broken relationship with my dad who walked out on our family divorce when I was 7, and I'd never forgiven him, and I didn't know I had any of that. And I'm carrying it in, and there's anger issues. We've talked about this many times in the past in sermons here, but I had anger issues in my life that I now realize were displaced anger, and I've even used an extension cord 20 years ago to explain this. It's like I think the anger I'm experiencing is related to her or this situation. No, it's displaced from something else in my life. And I said, you got to go to this and go, oh my gosh, this is tied into my relationship with my dad. And I would have never thought something that happened 20 years ago is going to affect present day. And I realized, oh my gosh, I brought that luggage in. And now I'm taking out things against my wife when it has nothing to do with her. It has to do with, you want to grab this extension cord?
I was going to say, I think the thing that I carried in was so much insecurity, feelings of shame and unworthiness. I was in constant competition with everybody. I couldn't even compliment Dave because I felt like if I compliment him, he's already cocky enough, and if I compliment him, it'll make me seem worse. I couldn't even speak life into people because of my own insecurities. All of that was tied to my past. And I really wish that I would have gone back and dealt with that, and I'm glad that we've done it together. But I feel like we all need to do that, whether you're single or married. And if you're single, this could be one of the greatest gifts you do is go back into your past and think, what issues do I have? You may not be aware of them, but I will tell you this, your friends know your issues. If there's drama going everywhere with you, there's some issues. If you constantly have problems with friends, relationships, there's something going on. Dave would talk to his dad on the phone, wouldn't even engage in the conversation, and I finally said, what's happening with your dad? You don't even have a relationship. Remember that?
She actually said one day, and I don't have time to go into it, and we've shared this many times, but here's the short version. She actually said one day, you need to forgive your dad. To which I responded in a very mature spiritual way, Don't tell me what to do. I'm fine with my dad. I'm walking out of the room. Withdraw, withdraw, withdraw. It's literally what I did and went upstairs. Like, you're not telling me anything about my relationship with my dad. We're good. It's no big deal. He walked out 30 years ago, no problem. And guess what? She was right.
And here's the truth.
Again, she was right.
That's right, that's good. If you have anger issues before you get married, you will still have anger issues after you're married, but they'll be worse.
Yeah.
If you have an addiction before you get married, you'll probably have an addiction after you get married, but the pressure of marriage and job could make it worse. Do you see what I mean? Your problems are not going to disappear when you get married. They're still going to be there, but they're harder in some ways.
By the way, the reason I'm smiling is this sounds so encouraging, doesn't it? Get married, it'll be worse. No. Here's what we're trying to say.
That's true.
It is true. But what we're trying to say is it does expose the cracks that you don't see before, and now there's all this pressure because marriage brings this pressure. But the beauty, and I'm telling you, you're looking at a couple that has weathered and is still weathering through 37 years of this. The beauty is I have a partner that God used to sharpen me to become the man and the husband and the dad I would have never become, I don't think, without her. And she has a partner where God used us in each other's lives. Now, we could have resisted that and ran away from that, or we could have said, this is really hard, let's lean into it.
And I'll tell you the best thing about marriage.
What is it?
I'm telling you.
You're going to tell them that?
No, you don't even know what I'm saying.
I'm just hoping.
The beauty is that when we unload our stuff, here's the amazing thing to me, is that Dave still loves me and he's seen all of my baggage. That's the fear, isn't it? That when somebody sees all our junk, they'll run away. And so to be in a marriage that he sees all of me and he still loves me, that's what only Jesus can do.
And that, we're going to get to here in a second, but that's the Jesus God part. Mm-hmm. Because I believe a Christian marriage has this unique call. It's really a call from God, is I am called, and Ann's called the same way, I'm called by God to love her the way I've been loved by Jesus. Mm-hmm. In fact, we said it years ago in a series this way, do for your spouse what Christ did for you. What did Christ do for me? He gave his life. So if she's got stuff that needs to be unpacked, I'm going to be there and help her do it. Not judge her, but walk. And she's doing the same thing, doing for me what God did for her. And it's like we don't now come to each other to get and to fill each other up with what we're lacking. It's like, no. We're overflowing what we've gotten from Christ into the marriage. That's what we call vertical marriage. When I find it vertically, I can then overflow. It's the total different way to do it. And it's so applicable in the area of these unresolved issues. If you've got forgiveness issues or bitterness issues or resentment issues, shame, all that, let me recommend a book. And I'm not kidding. This applies to all of those. It's called Forgive and Forget, Healing the Hurts We Don't Deserve. I think we have a graphic so you can just go get it. But Forgive and Forget by Lewis Smedes, Healing the Hurts We Don't Deserve. That book set me free to understand how God, the great forgiver, can heal your heart and set you free. When I forgave my dad at age 32, I became 10 times the husband and dad that she deserved.
That's true.
And it was because I was plugged in or locked up or, carrying this chain around until I finally dealt with that. And it was years into our marriage. But that's one of the bags, man. You start unpacking that before your honeymoon, it's going to go much better after. So we've got the money one, the credit card, we've got the
past issues.
And then here's the third one. This is a very important one. And you're thinking, what in the world is this? This is
What do you think that is?
That's a sole from my Nike running shoe. And it's an illustration of another piece of luggage many of us bring into marriage, and it's called sexual issues. Sexual issues. Why do I bring a sole out? Because you've heard us, last time Ann and I were on a video at all campuses was this past summer when we talked about sexual issues. Anybody remember that sermon? And we don't have time to go into it, so please go back and watch it if you need to. But our big idea in that sermon is if you and I think sex is just physical, we are so naive. It's soul. And I know it's a stupid illustration.
No, it's good.
But it's a soul. You are not giving your body to somebody. You're giving a piece of your soul. That's the beauty of what God created with sexual intimacy. It's so deep. It's so intimate that it's beyond just the human body.
For Dave and I think that's probably why we struggled the most, was because we thought, we have all this past sexual experiences with other people. having no idea that we had fragmented souls, that we had given parts of our soul to other people. And so when we came together, there was insecurity, there was lack of trust. There were so many things that affected our marriage because we hadn't dealt with our past sexual.
Yeah, and nobody ever told us what I'm going to tell you right now. Nobody ever said that you're going to bring all that into your bedroom.
Yep.
You're going to have a crowded bedroom. And I know it sounds weird. It's like, no. You bring that. That comes with you. The past doesn't stay in the past. The past actually settles into your present. And nobody told us that. So we thought, it's stuff we did in the past. It's done. It's over. It won't impact our marriage. Some of you know this, but 6 months after we got married, we were ready to end it. I prayed to God, and people think I'm joking when I say this. I literally got on my knees one night because we were struggling so bad. And I'll be really honest with you, 90% of our struggle in the first year of marriage was sexual history that we brought in and didn't know how to process it because we brought this bag of luggage that nobody really told us this is going to be a huge weight. I literally prayed these prayers, word for word. God, take me home. I'd rather die than be married to this woman.
Who prays that?
I did.
And then I
told her I prayed that because we're going to be.
That's the mistake.
We're going to share everything with each other. Bad idea. Anyway, I told her that.
And I had told Dave marrying him was the biggest mistake of my life.
Yeah.
So we were just wounding each other with our words, not having any idea of what to do.
And so here's what I would say, because I know this deserves more than a couple minutes. But and again, go back and watch the 35 minutes we spent on it before. But I would just say this: be very, very careful with this area. Nobody's telling you the truth about this one. I mean, think about this. I know there's many couples here at Kensington that live together, and you can choose to live together. But if you just thought about, I want a great marriage, and you just looked at the statistics, you wouldn't live together. Forget the moral part of what God thinks. Just look at the statistics. They say you have a 7 times greater chance of getting divorced if you live together before you get married than if you don't. You have a 38% higher rate of sexual promiscuity after marriage if you had many sexual partners before marriage. It's just the statistics say that. It's like, oh my gosh, I want the best. What do the statistics say? It's like, oh my gosh. And again, I'm not judging for that. I'm just saying, man, we want to help
best for you.
Yeah,
right.
There's no doubt about it. But this is a big issue. And I'll say one last thing, and then we have one last bag, and that is this: God will heal.
Yeah, it's never too late.
God will heal. I wish we didn't have to go through the process we had to go through, but those were the consequences of some bad decisions. God has done a miracle in this area of our life, but we almost gave up because of that one area. And then the last one, we've already hit it in a sense, but the last one would be illustrated by this. I think it's in here somewhere, yeah, the Bible. And I would say it's the God issue, the God issue. And I illustrate it by the Bible. I would say this is the most important issue that you need to bring into your marriage. And I would say this: if you're a follower of Christ and you're going after Christ, marry somebody that's going after him the same way. Yeah. Don't marry somebody and think, I'm going to change them and they're going to turn later. Yeah. I would just, and I know some of you don't want to hear this, but I just say, just please listen to this wisdom. I'm actually holding the Bible that, it falls apart. It's been with us forever. In fact, some of you know, you've seen this. This is the Bible that I proposed to Ann with. See, there's where I put the engagement ring. See, it's all cut out. And I had her look in the Bible to find it because I thought if she finds an engagement ring in there, that's where our whole life is going to be centered on the Word of God and the living Word, Jesus Christ. And it's the greatest thing we ever did.
I think the greatest thing that I did was I had been dating other guys, but I felt like if you're talking about if my life is like running on a track, I was sprinting toward Jesus, and the guys I was dating, they were like in the bleachers. And I'd be saying, come on, it's great. You should come and get on the track. And they're like, yeah, you know what? I'll walk with you once in a while on the track. And I met Dave, and he was like sprinting faster than I was. Like, this guy is going for it. And it like sparked my heart where I thought, I want to live like that. I want to pursue Jesus in a way, and I want to find somebody that's going the same pace or faster than I am.
And honestly, this is the only dating relationship we ever did that.
Yeah.
Every other one of them was the old rules of love, sex, and dating. We did it the way the culture did, and it led nowhere. And we did this one the way, and again, not perfectly, but we did God's way. I remember after one day driving home from her house, late at night, she lived with her parents. I was driving home to my single mom's house, and I screamed at the top of my lungs in my car, didn't even realize I did, just spontaneous, I love Jesus! Just like that, and I heard it like, what did I just say? I love Jesus, and it hit me so strongly. It's like, I've never once said that after a date with a girl. I would have said, I love sex, I love her. Never did I have a relationship, a dating relationship, cause me to grow closer to Christ. I remember even as a 22-year-old young man from a divorced family thinking, I bet you that's the thing you build a marriage on, that right there, that she would spur me on, that I would spur her on. That would be the foundation. I'm telling you, it is. And the last word I have for you to end this series is this. If you want a great relationship, if you want great love, great sex, great dating, great marriage, it's one answer. And I've said it every week in this series, everywhere I've been. Jesus, it's it. You surrender to Jesus. And by the way, don't do this. She needs to surrender to Jesus. He needs to surrender to Jesus. That's putting our eyes on the other person. No, look in the mirror and say, will you surrender? Just you, surrender. Let God do in you what he wants to do, and then trust him. Trust him for the person that you're going to do a relationship with, because that's what we did. And I'm telling you, 37 years later, I am more in love with her today than I was on our wedding day. And it's true.
And marriage can be awesome.
Oh, and it can be
And
that.
here's what I would pray and hope for you, that I hope for myself every single day, that all of my junk, all my baggage, all of my life, I would give it and present it to God. Like, God, here's my mess. Here's my life. Here I am. I give it to you because I need you to take all of me. And you know what God does when he sees all our stuff and you bring it to him? He looks at it and he goes, wow, now we can go somewhere because you have amazing potential and I have so much for you.
So today's your day. For somebody, today's your day. Today's your day to surrender it all and watch God do a miracle. And we're going to show you a video. It's a beautiful video. Couples have been married many, many years, and you just walk through their journey and see how God has brought two people together to glorify him in a very unique way. Watch this.
Pardon?
Look in the camera.
I know. I'm just getting my thoughts back together.
I'm sorry.
Because you started off last time about where we met.
Oh, sorry. Do you want me to start again?
We start again.
I went to this dance with my sister to a place called the Colston Hall, which was rather upscale from the dances I usually went to.
Our first kind of date was at a VFW dance in Detroit, and I remember the Blue Notes were playing.
The first time we laid eyes on each other is when I picked her up to go on the first date. And she opened the front door and invited me in, and she had a whole living room full of relatives they were celebrating
I think my grandma's birthday.
somebody's birthday, yeah.
I would go most Saturday nights ballroom dancing. And I went this particular evening with a friend of mine who was rather tall, about 3 inches taller than I am. And, you know, you're young and you're cocky and you just look around and see who's who.
And I was so nervous, and I was chewing on some bubble gum. And she kind of turned her head about halfway through the dance, and my gum got stuck in her hair. And
Ever since then, we've been stuck on each other.
yeah, we've been stuck together ever since.
We danced and we talked and we danced some more, and then he took me to the bus stop and immediately asked me for a date. So I thought, boy, this is a nice, handsome young man. I think I will go back out with him.
We had that first date, and actually within
3 weeks?
3 weeks, we were talking marriage.
Our daughter came along 2 years into our marriage. Our son came along about 2 years later. We started a new business, got put out of business, moved to the United States, and it was a world.
We thought it was all going to be bed and roses, and it really wasn't all that.
When we first got married, we couldn't have an argument, even if we wanted to, because anytime I would raise my voice for any reason, she'd start crying. And I said, well, there goes that argument.
If I could go back in time and know what I know now and make any changes, I definitely wouldn't have thought that marriage was going to fix all my problems. I wouldn't have thought that.
Right. I would say the same thing.
Take your time before you get married, because you may think you know the person you're marrying, but you don't really know them until you are in a relationship that is going to last all your life.
Looking back, it's like you need this open line of communication between husband and wife. And as I got older, I learned, I gotta state how I feel and talk it out more. And I think that in itself would help.
Here we are 51 years later, and we have so much to offer, and we're glad we stuck together because we have our original family. When we have get-togethers, it's all of us,
Right.
So we've grown together a lot, right?
Right.
And
Yep.
it's taken a lot, but
It's all worth it.
yeah, it's all worth it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What makes a happy marriage, it's a happy wife, happy life type of thing. And that's true. And I think the more we take into consideration our spouses and our family leads to a stronger, happier marriage.
It's been a wonderful ride. It's been an exciting experience. And I don't know how, but God must provided everything that we needed to know along the way. And it's been just wonderful.
What an awesome message of wisdom and hope. From a singles perspective, it's really encouraging to hear words and steps that prepare you for commitment. Because if I'm completely honest with you, I can truly say that in almost all of my relationships, past relationships, I've been more worried about what's wrong with her or the baggage that she carries than worried about what I need to fix myself. And so I think whether you're married or single or going through separation, or even if you've experienced divorce, this is a message of hope for us. Hope that it's never too late to truly surrender to Jesus and watch him make the change. So I want to invite you into this next moment. If you choose to stand or if you choose to sit, whatever it is, but I want to invite you in this moment as we sing a song that celebrates who God is and what he's done and who we become if we truly surrender to him. On a frame, you walked in our pain, now you're taking us higher. And you stepped into time, and you laid down your life to save us. You took on our shame, by the cross it was slain, and now you're taking us higher. We go from glory to glory. We'll never be the same. We'll never be the same. And we go from glory to glory to glory. And we're forever changed. We're forever changed. You call me your friend, brought into your endless scheme. By the blood I was made, I'm no longer a slave. And now you're taking us higher, 'cause we go from glory to glory to glory. We'll never be the same. We'll never be the same. And we go from glory to glory to glory.
We're forever changed. We're forever changed. Until we reach that day, love conquers everything. We'll cry and end up singing, holy, holy. Until we see that day, we're standing face to face. We're shouting and up singing, holy, holy. Until we reach that day, and love conquers everything. We'll cry and end up singing, holy, holy. Until we see that day, and we're standing face to face. We're shouting and up singing, holy, holy. Yeah. You took on the grave. Yes, God. And the victor has won, and heaven has come, and now you're taking us high. Come on, let's sing it out. Oh, and now you're taking us higher, 'cause we go from glory to glory to glory. We'll never be the same. We'll never be the same. You take us higher, higher, higher. And we're forever changed. We're forever changed. Glory to glory to glory. We'll never be the same. We'll never be the same. And you take us higher, higher, higher. We're forever changed. We're forever changed. We go from glory to glory to glory. We go from glory to glory to glory. You take us higher, higher, higher. And we're forever changed. We're forever changed.
Aaron, thank you. I didn't want that song to end. That was so powerful. Thank you, everyone, for leading us in that, Aaron. We get to go from glory to glory. When we invite the Lord in and do the things that we heard today, we heard a challenging message. But what he just sang out is we can be forever changed when we allow God to move in the places in our lives that we need to turn over to him. I know some of you are standing here right now and you're just not even sure what to do next with what you heard today. And I want to invite you down to come and pray with our prayer team. They're down front here after every single service. They are here to pray with you. Some of you are in relationships and you just want to contemplate where you're at right now and what do you do next. Pray with them about that. Some of you are in marriages and you're wanting more. You're struggling and you want help, or you're just doing all right, but you know that you could go from glory to glory. We have a marriage mentoring team that's designed just for that, to meet with couples, to come alongside them for a short term. You can get some information from the prayer team on that. Some of you are thinking about, man, I can't wait to tell somebody what I heard today. And if you struggle to repeat it, just offer to them to come and listen to it online. It's so powerful to listen to it again. So I invite you to do those things, to contemplate what you heard today. And then next week, we start our new series, Jesus, the questions that Jesus asked. Come on back, invite some people, and we'll press into 3 weeks of that, questions that Jesus asked. I'll see you next week.